Have you ever stopped to think about the fans behind a band? What is it about the music that keeps fans coming back for more? Or is there more? My name is Renae Lipsmeyer, and I am the host of this podcast, The Space Between Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the fans of the Dave Matthews Band. Each week, a fellow DMB fan joins the show to discuss their journey with the band. Welcome to the Space Between Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Space Between Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the fans of one band. If you've never listened to this podcast before, we talk about the fans of Dave Matthews Band. Dave Matthews Band celebrates 35 years of making music this year, which is 2026, and we are celebrating. Celebrate we will. Every episode is a fan talking about why do they continue to follow this band, or how did they just find this band? There's so much history behind this band that there are fans all over the world, every age, and I am here to collect the fan stories. I often say, because it's true, that 50% of a band's success is because of their fans. If there are no fans, there are no bands. And if there are no bands, there are no fans. And so I'm collecting half of the other side of the story when it comes to Dave Matthews Band. And of course, that is us. So this episode is like every episode. I have someone on the show that is going to share his journey, but his journey is a little special because this week, of course, we're talking about the DMTB. And if that sounds foreign to you, we've got a couple of episodes before you that are still about the same thing, DMTB. And we're going to say that a lot through this episode. So DMTB stands for Dave Matthews Tribute Band. And if you didn't know there was a tribute band, well, this week is going to be a great week for you because you are going to learn all about the only nationally traveled Dave Matthews Tribute Band. And so we have a special guest on the show today from DMTB. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where in the world are you, and just tell us something about you.
Hey y'all, Brandon here from the Dave Matthews Tribute Band from the smallest state in the entire country, Rhode Island over here. It's looking pretty outside right now. Yeah, front of house audio for the Dave Matthews Tribute Band. I started with the band probably 2 years ago now. It was much less full time than it is now, but now I'm on the road quite a bit with these guys, so which has been awesome because it's the closest thing you can get to actually doing Dave, which would be a life's dream, obviously.
Right.
But these guys, they give you that emotion, that feeling, and the vibe that you would get from any Dave show, hands down. So,
yeah.
But it's been an awesome road.
Awesome. So let's go way back, or maybe let's just go a few years back. I don't know your history, and that is one of the cool things I think about this show is when I record with a guest, I've never asked them their journey. So as you're listening to this, listeners, I am listening to it as the very first time. Take us back. When was the very first time you heard of the music of Dave Matthews Band?
Geez, let's see here. I just turned 30 this year, so I'm not, one of the oldest guys in the bunch, that's for sure. So born in 95. Right when Dave was up and coming. My parents had a huge thing for Dave Matthews. I think I saw him for the first time in 2003 at Great Woods in Massachusetts here. So 7 years old. Hell yeah. Going to see Dave Matthews.
Hell yeah. Good parents.
Yeah. Started with Three Doors Down and then Dave Matthews 2 weeks later. So
wow.
It was a pretty good run. But yeah, ever since then, I'm also a drummer. So I used to play to the Central Park album more or less top to bottom every day. So
wow.
Yeah, so it's been a good 25 years that I've known who Dave is and had a fandom obsession with him, that's for sure.
Right. So you talk about your parents being fans, of course, before you, and they're the ones that kind of introduced. Are they still fans of DMB?
Oh, yeah. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, they come see this band whenever they're around. My dad came out with me, I think it was last summer, went to go see Dave again at the same venue that I saw him at 20 years ago, which has changed names like 5 times now, but I think it's Xfinity Center now up in Mansfield, Mass, something like that. But everyone's still a massive fan of Dave, so
that
doesn't seem to change. Once you're a fan, you don't really just stop.
Usually not. Yeah, you usually don't back out. Well, so let's talk about that very first concert. Now, I know you were 7, so memories are blurry, but we know that you went to another show. Do you remember, or Like, did you go to another show soon, or was it a while before you made it to the next show? Because at 7, yes, you soaked it all in, but at 7, I feel like that's such a young age that maybe it didn't impact you that day. When was the moment that, like, you heard it and you
I
really heard
think,
it?
yeah, so I think probably throughout my middle school years is when I really started to delve deep into it, because then I figured out by that point, I knew what my dad did for a career, which is what I do. He owns the company that I now own. So he's been doing live audio for about 43 years or so, long time. So I've had my whole life is based in live music. That's just how I grew up. I was on Portuguese Feast when I was really young. I was in nightclubs far too young to be talking about mine. And
Those are the stories we want to hear.
so exactly, yeah. It's been interesting.
Things to ask you later when we're not recording,
But
right?
yeah, probably around middle school, definitely, yeah, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and then getting into high school I was just, full on obsessed with the band by that point in time. That and
Yeah.
Rush. I mean, Dave
Mm.
Matthews is a musician's band, as is Rush, as is all those other, prog bands and stuff like that. They just do crazy things that we all like, you know what, if I could play like that, that'd be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where that all comes from. But obviously,
Well,
Dave totally different. So
what was it about their sound? Because, and let's see, what time frame are we talking? Are we in the 2000s at this point when you're really into
um
them?
yeah, yeah, probably around 2005, 6, 7 in that area.
Okay, so we still have Butch in that. I'm trying to paint a picture of like what the band looked like in that time frame. So we had Butch, we had, the other 5. It's a good time to know DMB to find them. So I always say no one is ever too late to the game. Like all you have to do is arrive to the game. It's never too late, right? And you showed up at a really, really good time. What was it about that sound in the mid 2000s that stuck out to you and made you want
Oh
to listen
man,
to it more?
my mom, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, when DVDs came around, she would always buy concert DVDs. My dad had this awesome surround sound system back then that was in the basement, and it sounded like you were at the concert when you were listening to this stuff. She bought in 2003 when it was released, Central Park, the 3 DVD set, and I used to watch
Yes.
it all the time. By the time I discovered what that was probably around 2005. So once I heard Central Park, I'm like, that's sick. I mean, what they did there, the energy that was present there. I mean, the
Right.
sheer number of people that arrived to that kind of thing. Awesome. I mean, like no one's ever done anything like that. Hopefully it happens again, but more than likely, probably not. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was really what did it, was that particular album. And I think, I'm not sure if the guys would agree, but I think a lot of the guys in the Dave Matthews Tribute Band are on the same page with that. That album was like the groundbreaking Dave Matthews Band, like, presentation.
Yeah.
From there, it just went up and out from there. I mean, they've just gotten better as years went
Yes.
on.
I agree. I agree. Like we all have. I like to
Right.
think we've all gotten better in this years. But yeah, Dave Matthews Band is, to me, in my personal opinion, the best they've ever been. But so much of that makes sense. And yes, that's my opinion. But also, I think as musicians spend more time like building their craft, you get better at it, right? And so that's exactly what has happened with this band is they've gone through many decades and tweaked little parts because they've had to or because they wanted to. And right now their sound is spot on, and we're celebrating 35 years of them
Crazy.
making music, and it blows my mind every time to say that. Like, how can someone be at the top of their game at 35 years, which I believe they are. Now, so many people want to say that the mid 2000s was the top of their game. And yes, it was. I know there's been some highs and some lows within this band, but they are just still really, really good. I don't think if the fans have anything to do with it, that they're going to be done anytime soon. We'd never let them go, right? We would never let them go. But talk about how that changed your life. Like, when was the next time that you really kind of wanted to see them live? Because that is such a big difference between seeing them on TV, listening to them on the radio, and then seeing them. And yes, you saw them at 7, but like with your new information that you've collected over the years, just watching that DVD and playing with it, like what was your next show like?
So it was a very long distance time wise later. because the first time I saw them, I actually went out with Gresh, one of the horn players for this band. I had received tickets from my mom for my birthday to go see them 2 years ago now over at Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut over here. We went and Gresh and I just had a blast. It was the beginning of my relationship with this band that re-inspired the spark, because I think over the years, I made a couple of different career changes. I kind of steered away from live audio for a little bit. And doing that, I kind of separated myself from music altogether and listened to more mainstream stuff for a long time. And then once Gresh had called me to do audio for the band one time, way out in Long Island or something like that. Ever since I did the band that one particular time, like, you know what? I need to be with these guys. Like, it's that energy came right back. And then my obsession started all over again and started listening to all the live albums again. So really within the last 3 years, I've really rediscovered all of it again. And it's not going to stop this time, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. So let's talk about DMTB. Had you heard of them before connecting with Gresh, or what was your first connection to DMTB?
Right. So I remember when it was around the time I think that my son was born, 2018 or so. The band, I want to say David was introduced at that point recently, around that timeline. I could be wrong on that, but I saw that a lot of advertisements are being listed for the band and video promotions and stuff like that on social media. And it really caught my attention because I'm like, well, these guys are really good. And then I want to say a couple of years later, I think it was 2021. I think I talked to David about this recently. Gary had joined the band around that time. And that's when I really started to see the advertising push on social media for that band. And I'm like, well, I would really like to work with that band. They sound really good. They sound just like Dave. I mean, it's really good. I mean, it's uncanny, the resemblance of the musicianship and the stage presence and the energy that band brings. The only other guy that can do it is Dave.
Exactly.
So really, once I started to see, I want to say specifically it was Trippin' Billy's. They had a video promotion running for a long time. And I think it was from Town Ballroom up in Buffalo, actually, was where the footage was shot. And we've since done now 2 go-arounds with that band in a row here the last 2 years. But yeah, that was what did it. It was awesome. Those advertisements. And then Gresh, I knew Gresh before that. Gresh, he was a fill-in sax player. He was sitting in with a Doors tribute band. Through the Doors, those guys, I've known them for about 20 years now. My dad mixed them for a long time. I ended up taking over that spot for a little bit. Yeah, good friends of mine. And Gresh sat in and played with them a few times. And then Gresh also, he's got a good talent when it comes to his ear. He's actually a genuinely good sound guy. Like he can get a pretty good mix going. He had an 80s band that he had put together for a short time that he had me go and give them a hand with audio and stuff like that. And that's kind of where the relationship started. And then he started playing with the Dave Matthews Tribute Band. And I knew when that happened. And that was kind of, he's the reason why I know these guys the way that I do now. So if it wasn't for Gresh.
Thanks, Gresh.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So he's an awesome guy.
So you find them and you see them live. And was it everything that you had saw on YouTube or Instagram from their ads? Like, was it everything that you thought it was going to be or more?
So it's tough to say. The very first time that I saw them was at a venue up in northern Rhode Island here. And I'm just one of those people that I know what I want to hear. And if I'm not hearing it the way I want to, I have a hard time enjoying myself. Because once you're on this side of the fence and you know how to make things, be spectacular, presentation wise, and really help the energy and the presentation that the band is trying to get through to the audience, you're that transition to the audience. You do all of that. So if it's not being translated properly, energy is way down and whatnot. So that being said, the first time I saw the band, I knew they were great. But from an audio side of things, it was the house audio guy there. And I was like, this is not awesome. And I remember talking to Gresh after the show, and that was really what started me being involved with the band, because ultimately that's an image that they need to maintain show to show, to the consistency to blow these crowds out of the water, just, hit them right where it matters.
Yes.
So that being said, I didn't see them again for over a year, I want to say. And it would have been that first show that I did with them out in Long Island. So that was the day I was like, oh yeah, okay, they really do sound just like Dave, because they make my job incredibly easy. I mean, everything they do sounds so good. The sources sound so good, which we've worked on over time too. We've swapped out a lot of things on the road and, changed pretty much everything about how their sound is being captured on stage has been changed in the last year. And ultimately that's led to the product that you hear today, which for me and my standards, I can't do any better than what I'm doing right now. It's that good.
It is that good. And I've heard that from just, I talk to fans a lot. That's what I do for a living. And the word is, you guys sound the best you've ever sounded right now. And a lot of that is thanks to everyone, but also, the audio guys in any band are so important because you are literally the person that's kind of delivering the sound in a way. And so we're so excited that you're on board. We have watched DMTB grow significantly over the last couple of years. And I like to, of course, give you credit to a lot of that. So we're so excited as fans of DMTB to see you come along, but also just because that means that there's some growth. When you start bringing in professionals, especially like audio professionals, like, hey, okay, this is a different level of band now. And it's exciting to see DMTB in that and to see their growth with that. Their sound has just magnified, and it's everything that you could want. A lot of people have said, and I know I've said this in the episodes past, people walk in the room and close their eyes and they're able to just like transport back into time. And even if you weren't alive in the 90s, like 91, 92, 93, 94, if you were born in 95, that's okay. You can go back and listen to all of those things, but to be in the room as the sound is happening, that's a gift. That's a gift to so many of us that didn't get that pleasure to be with them back then. And so we're just so grateful for DMTB and their mission to like capture the sound of the years that they do. So I know you're excited. I mean, what could be more exciting than doing Dave music for a living? That's like every band's dream.
From my perspective and the way that things are sounding right now, granted, there's a lot of things that, consistency wise, it gets tricky, right? Not every venue sounds the same. You don't have the choice, at least in this realm, you don't have the choice of what you want for a front of house rig. So that's a very ever changing variable where you could work on the nicest of the nice to like, your nightclub special kind of stuff. And to try to get that impact to be airily the same every single night is the most challenging part. You're fighting against walls and reflections and all this other stuff. So yeah, it's been a really awesome experience because these guys going from mixing outside every day, which is pretty much what I did. There's no issues doing that. But once you inject this kind of volume and this energy into a space that has all these variables that play against you, really, it forces you to learn how to do things in a whole different way and make things do what they do now. So this band has been a tribute to a lot of knowledge over the last 365 days, really.
Wow.
So, and every day has been a learning curve in the positive direction. I mean,
but what a wonderful thing.
Yeah, we just did Down Ballroom again. We had done it, February of last year, I think it was, something like that. Or this year, sorry. It was still well, yeah, now it's last year. That was yesterday, 2 days ago. 2026, here we are. But the difference in what the band sounded like a year ago to what they sounded like now in that same room is night and day. It cannot be. And I know that we've had very positive feedback, especially from David's family and whatnot. Just awesome things.
Yes.
Yeah, the growth has been awesome for everybody the last year.
Do you find that, or I would imagine, just as a person that knows nothing about sound and all of that, is it a stressful position? Because I can see where you're talking about those variables and like how you only have so much control, right? Like you can only do so much. Do you find that you thrive in those situations, or does that kind of stress you out a little bit just because it means so much to you?
Right. Well, I mean, I've been doing live audio for a really long time. It's easy, right? It's an easy thing if you know what you're doing and how to work with it. But like I said, it changes when you're now trying to it's a concert every night, and concerts are significantly louder than people realize. And to get that to happen in a way that doesn't kill people and, get things to sit in a way where everything is stable on stage, no feedback, no resonant frequencies chilling around in the room, that kind of stuff. It's a challenge. I mean, it really is to take, um, all that stuff. You're taking you basically 28, 32 sources, 32 separate channels, and you're funneling it down to really three outputs at 105 dB or so. It can be stressful. It depends on the room. You can kind of hear how a room's going to be the second you get into it, and the variables change. The second people get in the room, everything you did at sound check is meaningless, really.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much the environment changes. So yeah, if you like to go down early before the guys start their set, and I like to hear playback in the room to hear how the environment's changed, so I know what changes to make preemptively in the entire system before the band goes on. And ultimately, that works. It works really well. So yeah, I would say definitely still stressful. Yeah, it definitely does. That first song is always like, this could be great, or this could be a lot of work.
Right, right. So I've noticed at the few shows that I've been at, to see DMTB, that you were present, and probably other people too. I'm not the only person that watches the room at a show. Like, yes, I would like to say that I'm laser focused on the band the whole time, but I'm not. I am so focused on the fans and the experience they're receiving and all of the things. But in the meantime, I have caught my eyes on you and how much you are circling the room. For those of you that maybe are wondering, like, why is this dude like walking around and checking all these things? Give us a little insight on what it is that you're doing.
Well, ultimately, the hardest part of the job, right, just because of physics, especially inside, is getting it to sound as even and great as possible, no matter where you are in the venue. And that's the part that is definitely the most challenging. Sometimes not possible, but we do what we can. And that's just because of the nature of how audio works. And that really is because if you think about it, nowhere else in nature are we taking one source and is it coming from multiple different sources at the same time, right? You're not receiving a bird chirping from all these different sources. It's just coming from one source. So once you start to introduce those different sources, things change. You get what's called phasing issues, and you get response issues in the room and all that kind of stuff. So I like to walk the venues. I like to go from left to right, front to back, at least twice throughout the night, and make sure that the experience that everyone is receiving is as good as it is where I am. And more often than not, I like to put myself in the worst sounding spot of the room. Because if I know if it's okay where I am, then it has to be great everywhere else. I like to be very proactive about what I'm listening to and what
Of course.
the people are getting. So
Yeah, we appreciate that. And I know the band that's what they've hired you to do. It's been a big change. And I've just heard the noise about how, like, wow, just in the last couple of years, their sound has changed. And I mean, I'm going to point that to you because that is the difference. Like, the guys have always been good. They're amazing, but you have come along and changed some things to make the sound even better. And so you guys are just in the sweet spot right now. How has life been? You're on the road. If you're listening to this and you don't know a lot about DMTB, of course, like I said earlier, they're the only tribute band that travels nationwide. And 2026 is a big year for DMTB. Y'all are literally going across the nation. So what is that like for you in your personal life? Because of course, we all have those factors like family and other commitments and things. How does that work for you? And was it a struggle to first kind of get into the swing of things?
yeah, I have to do a lot of the touring stuff in moderation when I can, because obviously I'm running a production company here, which it's blown up to 3 times to what it was just a couple of years ago. So that's a busy thing, and that's my livelihood. So it's tough to pick and choose where in the timeline I'm going to go out with the guys and do these things. So I'm very selective about that. But then also I have my son Hunter at home, and I have a family atmosphere here that I love to be around. A couple of days into being on the road, I do get the homesick feeling and whatnot. The balance of the life is the tough part. Trying to figure out, like, can I really go out for 14 days in a row? I probably shouldn't do that. As much as I would like to, I just didn't set my life up that way. So I'm kind of, as Hunter gets older and things kind of advance, especially with New England Live Audio, the sound company that I own now, the crew has grown vastly. Their abilities as individual technicians have grown vastly over definitely the last year specifically. And I'm able to really kind of separate myself from that, knowing that operationally and logistically, they're taken care of. They can handle it. And, for the most part, I get a little bit more freedom now than I have had in years past. So this has been the year where I've been really like, you know what, guys, it's time. Like, I don't need to be on every site anymore. You guys can handle this. So,
Right. Right.
and I do all the scheduling. I take care of all that stuff, and I'm still definitely much involved with all the things that need to happen. But there's a lot of intermediate stuff that we do that I definitely don't need to be around for.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned that this year. So, yeah, it's been an interesting breakaway challenge to really start this. I never really traveled the country until I was with these guys. Honestly, like I told David, the furthest I've been with them now is Ohio. That's going to change next month, to my knowledge. I go out to California with them. So yeah, it's gonna be a wild
Big
ride. So I
things.
haven't.
Big
That's
things.
a lot of exciting things for me to see new parts of the country. I've been down to Florida tons of times, and I frequent fly vacations up in New Hampshire and stuff like that. The whole East Coast really I've done up and down, but outside of that, yeah, I haven't really traveled all that much. So it's a pretty cool experience to be with these guys
20,
and go
yeah.
through that whole process. Yeah.
It's going to be a great year because you guys are doing California, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, so many states that are just begging for your presence. I see online, just looking through the comments and stuff on social media, just people begging for y'all to come to their hometown. And I mean, how proud you guys must feel to have people just saying, please come here, please come here. You can't fit in everything, but we're so excited that this year there's such a great schedule that's coming out. And so if you are listening to this or watching this on YouTube, be sure to check out their schedule, www.thedmtb.com. I love doing that old school, like www. Like people don't know,
Hell
but
yeah.
I love it. I love it. And I'm going to do it forever. It's my .com. Don't forget the .com. But be sure to check out their website. All of their tour dates are listed out, and you can even buy your tickets, which I say buy your tickets now if you think you're going to go, because they sell out so quickly. And that's exciting for a band. I mean, that is how they're able to continue to move on, is through ticket sales and people coming out to listen to them. So I have to go back and talk about your parents one more time, just because I think that part of your story is so fascinating.
Of course.
And it's not often that I hear this, which you would think that it would be, but it is not often that I hear, I kind of found Dave Matthews Band from my parents. So when they got the news that you were going to be working with a band that pays tribute to the original sounds of Dave Matthews Band, what were their initial thoughts?
Not surprised. Definitely not surprised. Not with the way that I grew up and whatnot. And they've known for a long time that this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, I would give my soul to go out with Dave tomorrow. And the funny thing is that, as tragic as it was, his monitor engineer passed away within the last year or so. And I know a lot of people, and I was asked, I'm like, they're like, do you want to go on? I'm like, no, he just tours too much for how my life is right now. I would love to be Dave Matthews monitor tech. Absolutely. But
yeah.
But he tours year round. Like he's out all the time. So it's like, it's a really hard thing, but this band is a good intermediate atmosphere where I can kind of do that. And it feels just like I'm doing Dave. It really does.
Yeah.
From a front of house perspective, there are some nights, I mean, it's just outrageous in the venue, the energy, even small ones. Pickle Barrel up in Vermont, we just crushed that place. The energy in there was outstanding. Like you cannot beat it. So yeah, my parents, they're incredibly proud and happy that I'm doing this, but they were not surprised that I would take the advantage of doing this kind of thing. Of course.
Yeah.
My parents met through the industry too. My mom was actually running the front desk for another production company that my dad used to bring his amplifiers to get repaired to back in the 90s. So it's like blood deep in this family. You can't get away from it. No matter, even if you try.
And you don't want to. Have they made it out to see a DMTB show?
Yeah, my mom went to a show up here in Rhode Island at Phantom Farms Brewing Company back in July or so. My dad, he's been out and about. He's not a big fan of loud noise anymore. He's been doing it for a long time, so his ears need a break. But he'll come out and see a sound check here and there and hang out, and then he'll take off for the night because he doesn't need to be subjected to that kind of volume anymore, which I get it.
I get it.
But yeah, and they're definitely much huge fans and supporters of the band. They follow all the pages, they share all the content, they listen to all the videos and watch everything, and they're absolutely 100% behind this product and whatnot. So it's been awesome. They're great people.
Awesome. Your 7-year-old son, does he like music, especially the music of Dave Matthews Band?
Hunter is Hunter's going to be turning 8 years old in April. Plays in second grade, loves Dave Matthews, loves it. I mean, he's had no choice really because I'm home. If I'm not on the road with these guys, I'm mixing down multi-track recordings for them. And, I've become obsessed with this band's image being as good as possible on my end of things. So, I take home 2-track recordings of what the mix in the room sounded like that night. And I do all that I can to make sure that I'm happy with that product, both in the venue and outside the venue. And lately, definitely within the last 6 months, we have cracked that code. Like it's a superior product to what we were putting out a year ago. So Hunter has a lot of listening time in the vehicle to
I bet.
A lot of Dave, both Dave himself and because I like to listen to the live mixes, Viva Rio and stuff like that. Folsom Field concert.
So good.
Live at City Fields. Love all of that stuff. Love it all.
Yes, it's so good.
And he loves Gray Street. It's his favorite song. He loves 41. He came up to me and he's like, Daddy, what would you say?
So you're my favorite child and you're my only child.
Yep. So yeah, he's a huge fan of Dave now.
I love that. We can't have enough Dave fans. And, that is, again, another reason why this podcast exists is because one day there will not be a Dave Matthews Band. And so in 100 years from now, when people are looking back through music history and they find the history of Dave Matthews Band, which they will, because who goes 35 years without notice? No one. There'll be research done on why and how. Why did people follow them for so long? Because there are so many fans that have just spent their lives dedicated to the sound that they produce and still picking up fans along the way. Like I said earlier, there's no wrong age to find them. People of every age have come to love this music.
My buddy Jacob Ellis, my full-time #1 employee, he's my left and right-hand man. I mean, he does it all. He hardly even knew who Dave was 2 years ago. And now he sent me his Spotify wrap up and he's got 20,000 minutes of listening to Dave Matthews, #1 at the top of his Spotify wrap up or something like that.
You changing lives.
He's like, well, that's because the song's 15 minutes long. I'm like, yeah.
Yes. But also you really like him now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He likes all the deep cuts. He likes Angel. He likes, all that kind of stuff.
I haven't made it to a show yet where there wasn't one person screaming, Angel!
Yeah, I mean, how
and
can
I'm
you not?
Dude, whenever it happens, I hope that I'm there. That's all I can say is I hope that I'm there. This brings me to a topic that I do like to talk about, and that is the tunes that DMTB play. And when we talk about Angel and Crazy Easy and those songs that we know exist.
Well, they did People. Right. They pulled out People the last couple of days with Zach being on the road and whatnot. And he's the B-side champion, that kid. He knows it all. Right. He chooses all the songs that people haven't heard in 35 years.
Right. The perks of DMTB is they'll even let you request. Say that you do want to hear Angel or whatever song that you want it is. You can send it in through social media and just say, hey, I'm going to be at this gig. I'd love to hear this. It's not 100% chance that they're playing, but they want to take requests because they want this experience to be an experience for you. Yes, they're playing because they love it, but they're playing because they know you love it too. And I think that is such a great thing. And so with this band, there really is just more of a connection to the guys that are on the stage. And that's what I've heard time after time. I'm so thankful to be in 2026 with you guys. I'm so excited to see what you guys are going to do with all of this. Guys, if you're listening to the show, keep listening because there will be opportunities for you not only to catch DMTB, but also check out the Space Between podcast. And, if you're interested in sharing your journey, your fan journey with the music of Dave Matthews Band, you can reach out to me, Joe. Brandon, I can't thank you enough for just taking a few minutes out of your busy day to talk about DMTB.
Yeah, this band will bring you right back to when Dave was coming out, right?
Guys, every episode this week is going to be a member of DMTB to share their behind the scenes fanhood, if you will, why they fell in love with this music, why they're playing in a tribute band that pays tribute to the early sounds of Dave Matthews Band. So stay tuned. We have 7 episodes, each one back to back every day. So you'll get to know the band on a deeper level. But guys, in the meantime, be sure to check out all the socials. Stay on top of where DMT is going to be. Where is the Space Between going to be? Because we are everywhere in 2026 and we want you to be a part of it. Because after all, without the listeners, without you guys showing up to these shows, we don't get to continue what we're doing. And we love what we are doing. So thank you to everyone that's listening to this, everyone that is watching this, and to everyone that shows up to a DMTB concert. Of course, we still have no word on what DMB is doing in 2026. And I love that. It's like the anticipation of Christmas, right? Like we're going to know soon, but we don't know yet where they're going to be. But here's one thing I will say, Brandon, you should come to Arkansas in May.
All
Everyone should come to Arkansas in May, like May 12th, something like that. That's all the clues I'll give you. But Arkansas is looking really good for 2026. And of course, that's the home of the Space Between podcast. So everybody, mark your calendars. Right. May 12th, Rogers, Arkansas. The flight code is XNA if you want to fly right in. Come be part of the Space Between podcast because we are celebrating, and celebrate we will in 2026. Brandon, again, thank you so much for being on this show. Guys,
anytime,
until
Renae.
the next,
Hell yeah.
until the next time, peace, love, and Dave Matthews Band.
We'll see you out there.